Da, 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 dee, 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 dee. Hold on, here we go. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Wilder Show Podcast. I'm Scott, and look, she's back.
I'm back.
There's Lauren. All right, Lauren. Well, we made it without you, but it was so much lesser without you.
I don't think that's true.
It is true. See, that's because you haven't listened to it yet. Instagram, look up Wilder Show Pod. That's what you'll search, and you'll find us and like it and all that. If you want to send us email, just email to podcast@wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time or before on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, all the places. Also on the TikTok every now and again. And wherever you get your podcasts, would you like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share? First, a little explanation. Mm-hmm. I'm not on the radio as this is being heard on Friday morning for Mark Davis.
Yeah.
And I only bring that up because we had brought it up to drive people to it. Mm-hmm. So if you have gone there this morning and you were wondering, no, it just, his plans changed last minute. And
so your plans changed.
So my plans changed, which is fine. So perhaps we'll do it another time. But it did prompt me to do something.
What's that?
If you are a Facebook person, now I don't do much Facebook the way other people do, but I thought, what if we had a Wilder Show, just a Wilder Show group chat? It's like only the cool kids, right? Only us.
Yeah.
And if you're interested in that, just find us on Facebook and request, because it's a private thing. And
makes it even more special.
Yeah, it is, right. Mm-hmm. Very cool. So anyway, if you're interested,
exclusive.
It's exclusive, but we hope soon to have billions of people in it. So that's how exclusive it is.
Billions of really cool people.
That's right. That's right. The other half of the world, not as cool. We have to talk about this shooting.
Yeah.
That took place yesterday at synagogue with the school there in Michigan.
West Bloomfield?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, West Bloomfield, Michigan. People are saying this whole thing about, we had talked about sleeper cells and all this kind of stuff. I don't know, I don't know how deeply to go into this, honestly, about the war. You got the war. I mean, whose war is it anyway? Whose war is this anyway? It was sold as America and Israel were going together to do this thing. Early on, it was a lot of confusion about, well, why did we do it now, or why did we do it at all? Marco Rubio was asked this, and I think in a moment of clarity, he actually, in honesty, he said, look, we knew that Israel was going to attack Iran, and we knew that Iran was going to attack back, including our facilities in the area. So we sort of joined in. And immediately people were like, wait a minute. So Israel got you guys to do this?
Yeah.
And the president said, no. If anything, I forced their hand, because he can never have it appear that someone else forced his hand. It's always that he's the more powerful person involved. And so there was this question of, why are we doing this now? Or why are we doing it all? I thought we obliterated. Remember we obliterated the whole nuclear thing? The obliterated was the word that was used. Last time was in June of last year. Those deep bunker bombs, and we obliterated everything. Anyway, now they're talking about getting rid of the missiles. And whose war is this anyway? When the Ayatollah's son was selected to take over for the Ayatollah, and we mentioned on the last podcast, how compliant do you think this guy is going to be in that he was injured by the bombs that were there that killed his dad and his mom and his wife and his son.
So not at all.
It's like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm President Trump or whoever.
Yeah.
So he's not, but when he was selected, who did they come to and say, what do you think of this? Did they go to Benjamin Netanyahu? No. They went to Donald Trump, because early on, Donald Trump, this is part of the problem with, having to be or seem like the tough guy. Early on, he talked about what we did, and we took out the layers of leadership. We took out Khamenei, and we took out the second layer and the third layer of the people. It was all a big meeting, and we. But I said early on, no, I don't think so. I think we were doing facilities, anti-aircraft, the command and control, the communications, the radar, the facilities that create the bombs and the missiles. We were doing that, the Navy ships, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we were doing. And Israel had a different agenda. Israel's agenda was more regime change. We're going to take out those people. But when you go in there and you sort of make it seem like you're the ones doing everything, then people wonder, well, who do you think should be the next leader? And President Trump says it better be somebody that I agree with, I really should be involved in. It's just, as we said on the last podcast, it's a nightmare.
Right.
You shouldn't even be doing any of that kind of stuff. So now it looks like they're walking back a little bit, America is, that maybe the president even said night before last, he said, we won in the first hour. It's like, what are you talking about? Then later in the same speech, which was a kind of a campaign type speech or rally, he said, but we want to finish the job. We want to finish if you won, you won, but you want to finish the job. It's a minor excursion, but it's a war. I mean, the whole reason why you never tell someone early on, what exactly do you want to get out of this? Mm-hmm. Is because then they can look and see whether it's accomplished and whether when it's accomplished, you leave.
Yeah.
Or whether when it's accomplished, you do more. One of the things the president said that I believe is almost true, there's almost nothing else for us to bomb. That's what he's saying. Mm. Nothing else. We've done really all the damage that we need to do in Iran. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably true. Now, the individuals running the place, that's a different thing, but I don't think that was ever our agenda.
Yeah.
I think you had two competing agendas. You had the Israel agenda, and you had the American ride-along agenda. But it's almost because of the way the president has presented it and the way it's been presented in the news, it almost has seemed like Israel's war on Iran brought to you by America. Mm-hmm. We are the title sponsor of the war.
Yeah.
But what happens when America says, I think we're done? And Israel says, ooh, no. See, we're still going crazy over here in Lebanon. Mm-hmm. We're not just in Iran anymore. We're in Lebanon because of Hezbollah. We are bombing over here in Beirut. What happens then? Can America get out of it even though Israel says we're not done? Well, what are things that could happen that would make America say, you know what? We got to stay in. Maybe shootings at synagogues in America. I'm not saying it's a false flag, but we know that false flags exist, right? False flag is the olden times of ships and shipping. You could tell whether a ship was one of yours or somebody else's by the flag that was easily seen from far away. Mm-hmm. So you have the people on the ships that are looking through the spy glasses, that you extend, and they're looking out and they're seeing, oh, that's a flag. That's our flag. Mm-hmm. And so what you do is you run, if you're, let's say, a pirate ship, you run the friendly ship's flag up so they see, oh, that's one of ours. And then you make an attack. Mm-hmm. In modern usage, it has become just when you make it appear that one group did it when in fact another group did it. Mm-hmm. You might have some explosives that are only made in a certain country, and maybe our CIA got a hold of it and we put them somewhere. And when the investigation, and this is all make-believe right now what I'm saying, as far as I know. But when the investigation is complete, we find out, oh, you know what? Look, we found a label we found a passport on the ground at 9/11, and it's from it's the one thing that didn't get disintegrated with the whole buildings and the planes and all the luggage and all the stuff. But look, here's a passport. So that must be the guy. He was on the plane. So those are the kinds of things that's the way it's been used. And I think there's what you will hear a lot about this shooting in Michigan is sleeper cell. Sleeper cell, sleeper cell, sleeper cell. But you're going to find some people, and they will be dismissed rather quickly and probably with great prejudice. Some people who will say, don't know. Let me give you an example of what I think was a false flag. Several years ago, probably 20 years ago, we were doing the radio show. Yeah. And there was a bill that was coming up before the Texas legislature, and it had to do with some anti-discrimination or something. But it was very much an issue where it was sort of racially divisive. Mm-hmm. You had some divide, and people were you be careful how you spoke against it, lest you be considered, the R word for you. And one of the members of the Texas legislature attended a very well-attended African-American Methodist church. And she attends that church often. And the vote was going to take place like the next Thursday. So the Saturday before that Thursday, that night, someone spray painted the outside of that woman's church, the member of the Texas legislature.
I know where you're going. I remember.
And all the news media were out there. It was a huge story. It was a statewide story. And of course, they interviewed the woman, the Texas legislator, and said, what? She said, this is why we need this bill. This is why we need. Well, okay. Did they ever catch the guy? They never caught the guy. But what I found interesting is what he spray painted on the African-American Methodist Church. Now, we're not going to say that word, but there is a word that you would expect a racist person to spray paint in big black letters on big black spray paint on the African-American church. You know what you would expect.
Sure.
You would expect that word. If you didn't have that word, and if you just had something else, what is the one thing that you would have? You would have what? The KKK.
Oh, sure.
You would have the KKK. Those three letters, KKK.
Like a symbol.
That's,
yeah.
Yeah. We are against these people. But guess what you wouldn't have on that church?
Probably not a swastika.
You wouldn't have a swastika. A swastika is what you would put on a Jewish church, on a synagogue. So that's why a lot of people at the time thought this is false flag. That this is to rally people so that if anyone speaks out against this bill in the Texas legislature for the vote that is taking place in just days, they will be too fearful to do it. And guess what? It worked. That measure passed. And magically, the thing never got solved. We don't know. We don't know who did it. Don't know. Obviously, I have no idea what the deal is on it. And I'm not suggesting that people that would do violent things and vandalism are, geniuses. But it seems to me if you're motivated to do a certain thing like that, you would paint the thing that would be most offensive to that group to show your hatred for that group. That's not what happened there. And that's why a lot of people thought, that's not real.
Yeah.
That's not real. I mean, if you really wanted to manipulate everything, I'm not saying this happened, but if you really wanted to do it, the false flag is to say, I'm going to do this thing that will immediately be blamed on somebody else. And it will help us tell the story so that we can then get this thing passed. Not saying it happened, but that would be an example of a false flag.
Right.
Sleeper cells that turn out not to be sleeper cells could be a false flag. Governments have been involved in false flags. Israel's been involved in false flags, actually to America's detriment before in our history. So not saying that's what happened in Michigan, but that is the kind of thing, though, that could cause America to say, you know what, we got to keep going. The whole Gulf of Tonkin thing was like that. It was a second attack claimed to be by the North Vietnamese against America, and it helped escalate the war at that time. In other words, here was his attack. We got to go. We got to go faster, farther, deeper. We have to keep going. We got to finish the job. Problem was, never happened.
Yeah.
Gulf of Tonkin incident didn't happen. It was just used as a false flag. It was used as an excuse to keep going. So if President Trump is saying to Benjamin Netanyahu, hey, I think we're done, and Netanyahu says, hey, we're not done, wouldn't it be something if there are some events, even against Jewish people in America, maybe even at a school, since America bombed a school in Iran, that could be the kind of thing that could lead somebody to say, yeah, we probably better stay a little longer in that. But whose war is it anyway? We've talked about AI and the way algorithms, is that what it's called, algorithms, the way those are written and the way things manipulate everyone. And Stanford has proved that ChatGPT, this will come as no surprise to you, tells you you're right even when you're wrong.
Of course it does.
Even when you're hurting someone. Think about that. They analyzed over 11,000 real advice-seeking conversations. These are real people really seeking advice. Not part of experiment, but their chats were opened to be viewed for this. Every single model agreed with the users 50% more than a human would.
Okay.
So not 50% of the time, but 50% more than when a human would. What that means is if you ask ChatGPT about like an argument, right? A conflict at work, a decision that you don't know what to do, a decision you're unsure about. AI, again, not a surprise to you, Lauren, is almost always going to tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear, and it gets worse. Listen to this. I'm going to read part of this. AI models validated users even when those users described manipulating someone, deceiving a friend, or causing real harm to another person. The AI didn't push back. It didn't challenge them. It cheered them on. Then, get this, they ran the experiment that changes everything. 1,604 people discussed real personal conflicts with AI. One group got a sycophantic AI. The other one got a neutral one. Now, hang on to your hat. The sycophantic group became measurably less willing to apologize, less willing to compromise, less willing to see the other person's side. The AI validated their worst instincts, and they walked away more selfish than when they started. And here's the trap. Participants rated the sycophantic AI as higher quality. They trusted it more. They wanted to use it again. The AI made them worse people.
No.
But made them feel better about the product.
Yikes.
And that creates this whole weird cycle.
Sure.
Users prefer the AI that tells them that they're right. Companies train AI to keep users happy. The AI gets better at flattering. Users get worse at self-reflection.
So the humans who are left will be miserable, intolerable narcissists.
Every day, millions of people ask ChatGPT for, advice on relationships, conflicts, big decisions. And every day, ChatGPT tells almost all of them the same thing. You're right, they're wrong, even when the opposite is true.
That's terrible. It's terrible.
I know.
As an aside, there's a line from a movie that I love. One character says, "What kind of sycophant are you?" And the other one says, "What kind of sycophant do you want me to be?" But I don't remember what it's from.
And we got to get to the Oscars. The Oscars are this weekend.
Yes, they are.
It's Lauren's Christmas. The Oscars are this weekend. And, leading up to the Oscars, there's some stuff in the news we got to talk about. And we'll do that in Scattershoot. But just real quickly, gasoline price, insane. Gas has really, really gone up. And we talked about this in the last podcast. The prices with things like the whole thing about, you hear about the Strait of Hormuz. Do you know anything about that? When you hear that, do you think about what it looks like or anything else? I think a lot of people don't. They just think it's a little piece of water.
Not really what it looks like.
If you think about it like a balloon, and there's the knot is tied, and let's say the balloon is off to the left. Off to the left, that big part that's blown up, the balloon is blown up. The air is inside the balloon. That's like the Persian Gulf. Yeah. Used to be the Arabian Gulf. Anyway, the Persian Gulf. It's not yet the Gulf of America. We already have one of those. The Persian Gulf. But down there where the knot is, it's real narrow. Yeah. How does the air get out of the balloon? If you don't pop it, the balloon expels the air through that little tiny. That's kind of what it's like. Wow. So all those ships that are all up here, in the blown up part of the balloon, they have to ultimately make it their way down to this. They all have to get in line and go through this one thing to then go to the Gulf of Oman. Okay. So it's a little tiny, it's a pinch of the water where land is real close on both sides. And all along that way, you have oil refineries and, it's 20% of the world's oil has to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Now, we don't get that much of the oil in America from there. But like China and Russia, it's like 80% of the oil in China, I believe, comes from them. So it's not just about America. It's the whole worldwide crisis. It's being described as there's never been anything bigger than this since the beginning of the discovery of oil. Wow. We've never seen, and it's all because they're shutting down the the Strait of Hormuz. They're putting underwater mines there, which is foolish for them too. I mean, when it's all over, you can't have mines floating around that could blow up your own stuff. So I don't know what they're thinking, but I do know what they're thinking. What they're thinking is make this incredibly expensive for the West, and they will chicken out. If you make it expensive, either for time, talent, or treasure, if we're not going to kill a bunch of the American soldiers, let's make sure we kill the spirit of the people in America. And the way to do that is to get the oil price to go up. And those oil prices, the gasoline prices, when they go up, they don't go up slowly. They go up like a rocket, right, and they come down like a parachute. So it takes a lot longer, more lead time to come down. Mm-hmm. But when they go up, man, they go up fast, as you've seen.
Sure.
It's gone up at least a nickel a day in the last 12 days. And one other quick note about the White House. The White House, there was a gathering of Republican members' issues conference, and it took place this last week at Trump National Doral, Miami. Okay. And the folks talking there, one was White House Deputy Chief of Staff James Blair. He told these members of Congress, stop talking about deportations. That's a disappointing thing. Mm-hmm. One of the things that he ran on was kicking people out of the country that shouldn't be here. And now you have the Deputy Chief of Staff telling members of Congress, hey, listen, stop emphasizing mass deportation, which is not a bad place to start. But if what you're saying is you're not going to deport 3 million people. Oh, look, there are people in the country that are here illegally. Some of them, not all of them, not even most of them, but some of them have also been violent offenders. If you want to start with those, that's fine. But ultimately, if you don't move to the next group, and that is the group that also, we were told, Donald Trump said, people that are here illegally, you're going to get them out of the country. If we don't move to that, that's just amnesty, which is not only something that many people don't want, it is exactly the opposite thing that he ran on. He ran on building the wall, so keep the people that shouldn't be here from coming in here, and getting the people that are in here that shouldn't be here out of here. Mm-hmm. Those two things were the immigration policy. Now, if all they're saying is, hey, you know what, just don't talk about it. We'll still do it, but don't talk about it. That's different. But it didn't seem like, from what I heard, what I read, it didn't seem like that was just a change in tactic. It wasn't a marketing thing. It was, hey, we're not doing that anymore. I hope it's not true. I know it's hard to deport 1 million people a year. 1 million people a year is about 2,800 a day. And that's if you went through 365 days. So, it's probably 3,000 people a day on weekdays, something like that. That's hard to do. But we know they're enough. If Biden let 10 million people come in illegally, we know they're here.
Right.
You can't just stop them by telling them to stop. You have to have a wall to stop them. Then you also have to get the ones that are not supposed to be here, who are already here. You have to get those out. So if that's all they're saying is start this way and we'll keep doing it the right way, what he ran on, then I don't have so much a problem with it. If they are actually abandoning that whole reason that he was elected, at least a reason for an awful lot of people why he was elected, then I think that's completely wrong. Oh, it is a time for Scattershoot.
Let's go.
Wilder Show Scattershoot. All right. That actually plays a role in what we're talking about today.
What does?
All right.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Just a little bit. Yeah, we have to talk about it. I was going to talk about it last time, but it wouldn't be the same without you.
Well,
because this is your Christmas. This is your holiday time of year. The pinnacle. Yeah. This is your Super Bowl. This is your Daytona 500. This is your World Series Game 7, and you have it's the congratulatory season. It's the awards season, and we're talking about the Oscars. And the Oscars are Sunday night, and Conan O'Brien is the host again. Mm-hmm. But among the things that got attention as we were leading up was something that little Timothee Chalamet, Timothee Chalamet said to Matthew McConaughey, and they were in a little thing. CNN has been doing these little they're not all town hall things. Some are just one-on-one interviews. Yeah. 2 Irish actors talking about blah, blah, blah. And then 2 that have been in other things together. And then this was Timothee Chalamet and was Matthew McConaughey.
It was.
And I'm sure everybody has heard it by now. But why don't I play it just so we can be clear, and then we can go from there. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Right, here we go.
And I don't want to be working in ballet or opera or, things where it's like, hey, keep this thing alive, even though no one cares about this anymore. Yeah. All respect to the ballet and opera people out there. I just lost 14 cents in viewership. But
okay. So that's exactly what he said. Your thoughts, because I have several layers of thought about this.
It didn't bother me that much. It seemed like something a young kid. He's 30 years old. It seemed like somebody who's sort of a young kid in an unrehearsed, long form space. Yeah. What long form means is lots of time to be yourself and not a lot of rehearsed answers.
Sure. Right. Yeah. I think another way to think of it is that's where you get the real stuff.
Sure.
Which is what I think is good. I mean, it's not always what you want to hear.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to be in ballet, didn't want to be. And by the way, his mom was in the New York Ballet.
Yeah.
His sister danced ballet. He went to like the famous frou-frou arts school in New York.
Yeah, I think his grandmother danced in the ballet. I don't think he was saying anything bad about the ballet.
Well, he said no one cares about it anymore. Isn't that sort of bad?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's more of a commentary on the fact that we don't go to see the ballet or the opera like maybe we did many, many years ago when honestly it was more accessible for people. There aren't as many opportunities to go to the ballet. There aren't as many opportunities to go to the opera as there are to, he was talking about it in relation to people seeing movies. I think but before the ramp up to that was talking about how more Gen Z people are going to the movies, and isn't that good for the movies? And he said, I've had the opportunity to be asked and to speak out for, hey, let's support the movies. Let's get everybody back to the theaters. He said, I don't want to have to do that all the time like they do for the opera and for the ballet. I think, I appreciate those things. I've seen many, many, many ballets. I've been to the opera once. I've been to, as many ballets as I've seen, as many times as I've been to the opera, I've been to 100 times more movies, know? And it's not because I appreciate that more or appreciate that art form more. It is certainly more accessible.
Yeah, sure.
It's way more affordable
sure it is.
to go to the movies. It's more affordable to take kids that you want to appreciate the arts to the movies than it is to go to the ballet or the opera.
There are a couple of layers here. One is, if it wasn't bad, if what he said wasn't bad, why did all the opera people and the ballet people just have their heads explode?
Because we live in a time when everybody is looking for a reason for their head to explode. I think people, so many people were saying, but we work so hard, on opera singers. We work so hard, ballet dancers. We work so hard. Of course they do. I don't think he was making any comment.
He said people don't care about the ballet or the opera. And I think that obviously carries a judgment. You can say it wasn't personal. He was just saying that people don't care anymore. Yeah, but I mean, the people in the arts, at least as far as I can tell from the reaction, they expect everybody to support all the arts. You are here to uplift the other people in the arts. You are not here to rank the arts. We don't rank, Timothy, we don't rank the arts.
Yeah.
I think that actually was what was said from the school where he went. The headmaster said something to the effect of, Timothy, we don't rank the arts.
Yeah.
We support the arts. What he's saying is, if it's not commercially viable, I don't really want to prop it up. They actually have fundraisers called Save the Ballet.
I don't think he said at all, if it's not commercially viable, I don't want to prop it up. I think what he said was those people who are in the ballet, people who are in the opera, supporting the opera, they're constantly worried about funding for it. They're constantly having to make sure that that they're doing fundraisers, that they're making people aware.
That's what I meant by prop it up. You prop it up because it is not commercially viable.
He wasn't saying that he was in charge of propping it up. He was saying that he was relieved and hopeful to be able to be in an area of the arts that didn't need to be propped up, where he could just do his job and not have to worry about dragging people back to the theater.
Right. The reason it is the subject of fundraisers is because on its own, it is not commercially viable.
Right.
And he didn't want to be part of something that nobody cares about, that is not commercially viable and has to be propped up with fundraisers. And as you said, have to drag people back in.
He was relieved that more people are going to the movies so that he would not have to be a part of something where part of the job was convincing people to go back to the movies.
Well, part of it, as you said, is, the average ticket price is insane.
Sure.
The average ticket price at the theater in New York is insane.
I used
the
to
average ticket. In fact, I looked up. I don't think I have it in front of me. I looked up the average ticket price of a ballet. Now, I know you can go up much higher or much lower, but the average ticket price of a ballet in New York, and then I looked up the average ticket price of a movie in New York, and then I looked at the average ticket price of an opera in New York, and you got to get dressed up. You got to have a big thing. You're probably not going to go by yourself, which you can do at the movies. You say, I'm wearing my sweats. But it's Thursday morning. I got the morning off. I want to see the new movie. I'm going to wear my sweats, go get a Coke and a big tub of popcorn, and I'm going to enjoy it. I can do it for $25 or something.
My oldest son was a dancer all the way through school, elementary school, high school, and then he went to college for it, and then he danced professionally for a few years. And when he was in high school, and I would have to remind him some very, very little, but every once in a while, I would have to remind him of the outlay of cash that it took for him to continue in that endeavor. And a few times I reminded him, it costs as much for me to take your brother and sister to one performance of the Nutcracker to see you in it as it does for your brother to play a whole season of city baseball. Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, it's expensive. It's all expensive. And part of that is, whether you're talking about women's soccer or women's sports, and, if it is not commercially viable, it makes it hard.
Sure.
The ticket price for things, that we a long time ago when hockey was only on the Outdoor Life Network. Remember that? Hockey was only on OLN.
Yeah.
You say, why am I paying $125 a ticket almost anywhere you're sitting to go see hockey? $250 just to go see a hockey? And the answer is they didn't have any money coming in from TV deals. They cut TV deals. Now it's much better than it used to be. Probably ticket prices are still as high or higher, but at least they're not as high as they could be because they're not paying the players only from ticket sales, which is sort of what it was like.
Yeah. And it's no dig at the opera or the ballet to talk about why it costs more. Of course it costs more. I mean, you make a movie, the movie's done. You send it out to all the theaters across the country. Nobody has to be there live.
Yeah, true.
Opera and ballet are completely different endeavors. Yeah. And I would agree with you totally. It was a terrible choice of words. And I think he knew it as soon as he said it. And nobody's upset, though, that Matthew McConaughey didn't correct him. Well, I mean, he sort of giggled along with him and in sort of a tacit agreement.
Actually, I was going to tell you, because I know you watched that. If you watch it again, I want you to watch the look on Matthew McConaughey's face. Yeah. Because he tries to give him a step-off look.
Yeah.
When he starts going down that road, he tries to give him, he puts his head back and raises eyebrows just a little bit, the way a dad would, to say, hey, buddy, tap the brakes.
Yeah.
And then if you notice, when Timothee Chalamet actually says it, and you'll hear Matthew McConaughey, we'll play it again in a second, you'll hear Matthew McConaughey say, yeah. He's trying to shut him down. So he's like, dude, you're jumping off a cliff. I'm trying to help you here. Listen to it one more time. You can't see the part where he raises his eyebrows and moves his head back, tilts it back like, hey, dude, step off.
Yeah.
But you'll hear the yeah. He's really trying to say, let's move on.
Yeah.
This is something you don't want to say.
And I don't want to be working in ballet or opera or, things where it's like, hey, keep this thing alive, even though no one cares about this anymore. All respect to the ballet and opera people out there. I just lost 14 cents in viewership, but
anyway, I thought that was so. Look, I don't think he was. I don't think people expected him to win the best actor. Did they? Or
I
do
think
they?
he's kind of
really?
in the running, but I think over the last few weeks before this, even, I think there was some speculation that maybe Michael B. Jordan was more the favorite. You know who Doja Cat is?
Doja Cat.
Doja Cat. She's a singer.
No. Yeah, no.
You asked why everybody was so outraged about this thing that he said.
Yeah.
She actually posted something in my Instagram or TikTok, I don't know, almost immediately after it was released. She's since taken it down. Her initial response to it was, it is Instagram. She said, the dancers care, the singers care, the audience cares. There's still an audience. People care. You show up in a nice outfit. You sit down. I'm cleaning up her language just a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
You sit down and shut up. That's the usual etiquette around those things. Maybe learn something from that. She pulled that down.
Why'd she take it down?
She took it down because she said she had recorded the previous video in the heat of the moment. She said, I'm going to come out and say that I know nothing about opera. I know nothing about ballet. I danced when I was a kid, but I am in no way, shape, or form a professional dancer.
That's funny.
She said, I took it upon myself yesterday to kind of give it to the man because there is a culture based around outrage. What I was doing yesterday was virtue signaling because I wanted to connect. And I knew that Timothy's goof up was something that I could leverage in order for people to connect with me.
That's right. Yeah. That happens all the time. It's a great point.
Yeah.
It's a great point. Just real quickly, and I'll make some real. We're not going to do a full Oscars predictions thing, but
I know.
I'm sorry,
okay.
but I will tell you this: a really interesting piece. It was in the Hollywood Reporter. It's by a guy named Brad Zosmer, and he's the author of something called Oscar Metrics: The Math Behind the Biggest Night in Hollywood. And what he did was he has a calculation. It's only math. That he uses to make the prediction. And he does, before I'll tell you how he does it, he said that this year is a very interesting year because you have a dueling that's going on between two movies. And we've seen this kind of thing before. What did we see? It was Shakespeare in Love and Saving Private Ryan. They were both nominated for a whole bunch of awards. Dr. Zhivago, The Sound of Music, same time, different ones. From Here to Eternity, Roman Holiday. Lots of categories they were up against each other, but it's never happened like this. In the 98 years of the Oscars,
wow,
it has never happened that you have a record-setting 11 categories where two movies are head-to-head. It's one battle after another.
Oh, yeah.
And Sinners.
Got to be Sinners.
And Sinners.
Yeah.
So you have basically Ryan Coogler versus Paul Thomas Anderson. That's really what we're looking at in this one. So what this guy, Ben Zosmer, did, he calculates the odds that each nominee wins in each category, but he only uses data and a statistical model. And he says, my method takes in the numbers from earlier award shows, which other categories a film is nominated in, critic scores, betting markets, and then he says, and other miscellaneous quantitative data.
Okay.
That's sort of saying, and special sauce. I can't tell you that part.
Some stuff you wouldn't understand.
That's right. And I'll give you the recipe. The computer assigns more weight to those inputs that have historically been the most correlated with the Oscar result in each category. And so that is the way he's done it. I'm going to run through just a couple of categories. Is that okay?
Okay.
Best Picture. Those that are up, it's a whole bunch. I always hate
10
to
of
have
them.
Yeah, it's too many. But the top five are Sentimental Value, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, Sinners, and One Battle After Another. And the winner by far, according to this, is which one?
It's One Battle After Another.
That's right.
Okay.
Exactly so. Best Director, by far, 65.9% is
Paul Thomas Anderson.
That is correct. Best Actor, not by far. In fact, just over 1%. The ones I would name some of the ones that are Michael B. Jordan, Timothee Chalamet, Wagner Moura, Leonardo DiCaprio, Ethan Hawke. A lot of people talking about Ethan Hawke. So who do you think of those, again, based on the criteria that this guy set out, who do you think is going to win that?
Michael B. Jordan?
That is correct.
Okay.
But barely.
Yeah.
Over Timmy. So in that case, that could actually impact it.
Sure.
Now, we haven't even talked about Jessie Buckley's dissing of Cats. I mean, the animal Cats, not the musical Cats.
Diss Cats.
I know. She said that
problem with one cat.
Well, she said that he would have to get rid of his cats before she could live there. Jessie Buckley, Rose Byrne, Emma Stone, Kate Hudson, and is it Renata
Riensve?
And this is a faraway winner. It's going to be who?
Jessie Buckley.
That is correct. This is a statistical model this guy's come up with, and now we're at Best Supporting Actor. Those that are up high: Stellan Skarsgård, Jacob Elordi, Delroy Lindo, Benicio del Toro, and Sean Penn. And his faraway winner is
who was the first one you said? Stellan Skarsgård.
No, Sean Penn.
Really?
Yeah, Sean Penn. Now, this is based on this guy's thing, so it's only math.
Well,
Who knows?
I mean, I think Sean Penn has won one of the earlier awards, but Stellan Skarsgård won one of the earlier awards too.
He's got his math.
I
don't know.
Okay.
And Best Supporting Actress would be its last category. Elle Fanning, Inga someone, Wunmi someone, Tiana Taylor, and Amy Madigan.
Amy Madigan.
That is correct. Yeah.
I've seen those. I think I may have seen all of those movies that are represented by those supporting actresses. I mean, Amy Madigan, that's a wild portrayal, very unexpected portrayal, but I don't know if I think it's the best.
Yeah, might be. And then two more bonus categories is Best Original Screenplay and Best Adapted Screenplay. Best Original Screenplay, the nominees are Marty Supreme, Sentimental Value, Sinners, It Was Just an Accident, and Blue Moon.
Sinners.
That is correct, far and away. And the Best Adapted Screenplay, the nominees are Train Dreams, Frankenstein, Begonia, Hamnet, and One Battle After Another.
One Battle After Another.
By far and away. Anyway, so we'll watch it. Hey, I could use the live chat thing during the Oscars.
Sure.
Maybe. I don't know. It's not as fun as during politics. Although the Oscar is sort of like your politics.
It is a little bit. Have you heard people ask this question, Reese? I don't know if people are asked, what is your superpower, or what would you want if you could have a superpower? What would your superpower be?
Are you asking me, or just wondering if I've heard that question?
It doesn't really matter if you've heard the question.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you both, though.
Okay.
What is your superpower?
What is my superpower?
What is your superpower?
That's a really good question.
If you think you have one.
I'm trying to pick which one.
Or I was going to say it's probably what a silly question. I can tell you what mine is.
Go ahead.
Something that really nobody cares about. It's naming the celebrity voice on commercials as they nobody cares if you're watching TV and an ad comes up for Tax Act and you say, hey, that's it's Adam Scott. Severance, Parks and Rec. That's Adam Scott. Nobody cares.
That's another sign you haven't listened to the last podcast, because I do a segment in there where I recognize a guy's voice.
Oh, really?
Anyway, I turned over. I had paused after about a couple hours of the Jesse Jackson funeral. I kept it going, but had it muted.
Yeah.
And I needed a palate cleanser, so I went over to Court TV for a little bit. And I just heard the questioner. And I thought, I know who that is. It didn't show his face. I thought there's no way I should know. And how sick it was that I knew Hank Brennan's voice.
So your superpower is not recognizing celebrity voices. It's recognizing really obscure people from Court TV.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Also, another thing that happened is I heard Logan Roy do the McDonald's spot as he does.
Brian Cox. He's great, yeah.
And I thought for a moment that there was another new burger that had been introduced. I thought he said something about the Big Ox Burger.
The Big Ox Burger.
He was talking about the Big Arch Burger.
Oh, that's funny.
But something about the way he said it, I really thought
that's funny.
He said the Big
that's
Ox
funny.
Burger. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know that I have a superpower. I I mean, I'm a bit intuitive on certain things, but I wouldn't call it technically a superpower.
Yeah.
But what was the other question?
If you could have any superpower, what would you want it to be? Would you want to be able to be invisible? Would you want to be? Would you want to fly time travel?
Could I turn invisible on and off?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
You wouldn't always have to be invisible.
Okay.
You would only be invisible
when
you wanted to be invisible.
I think it'd be dangerous. There's stuff you shouldn't know.
Yeah.
Time travel. I don't know about time travel. I saw an interesting movie about time travel.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody says, would you go back and make sure that JFK didn't die and whatnot? I'm not sure it's good to Jimmy with history.
With history.
It kind of happened the way it happened.
Sure.
And let's make the best of it,
What
whatever
about
it is.
teleportation? Like when the day's over, you're just home. You just...
Well, that wouldn't be bad, I guess, if you could do that.
Yeah.
Could you teleport farther than just to your home? Like you wanted to teleport to the...
You can go wherever you want to go.
Well, maybe. I need to be content with just being here, I think, though.
Okay. I like it. Now, you and I don't really need the call a boomer phone line that connects young people in Boston to seniors in Nevada. If you and I need to call a boomer, we just call each other anytime. And it's easy.
It's true.
There's
That's
a new, have you heard about this?
No.
There's it's a social experiment.
Okay.
It's the work of a biotech company that says this is all in the interest of bridging generational gaps and improving happiness. And the way it works, right now, this is the only one, but I think, well, let me tell you a little bit about it. I think that they've done this in Texas, too, in Abilene, Texas. It's a biotech company called Matter Neuroscience, and it set up a call a boomer phone line with an old payphone that they got off the internet and just refurbished it, located it near Boston University in Brookline, Mass, in a coffee shop. And they've set up another one in the lobby of a housing building for seniors in Reno, Nevada. If you pick up the call a boomer phone and place a call, it rings.
Presumably, you just hit a button because it goes only to that place.
It goes just to that place.
Yeah, so it's they're connected, kind of hardwired or whatever. Connected, not hardwired, but they're connected only to each other.
Only
so you're not
to
dialing
each other.
anything. You're saying,
No.
if you want to talk to a boomer, pick it up. And when they pick it up and push the button, it rings over there, and somebody at the, I don't want to call it an old folks home because it's my age.
That's
but I mean,
what we would have called it maybe even just a decade ago.
The mature living facility.
Yeah.
The serious mature living facility.
Yes.
Someone says, pick it up.
It's in the hallway, so somebody has to be walking by to pick it up when it rings. If nobody picks it up, the Zoomer who's dialing.
So boomers to
phone,
Zoomers, got it.
I mean, I guess anybody could pick
That's
it up,
funny.
but they're in an area of town where there are a lot of Gen Z Zoomers.
Yeah, so you put one phone in a whippersnapper area where mainly a whippersnapper is going to either see it and make a call or answer the call.
Yeah.
And then over here you have the seasoned individuals who are, it's basically the villages of Nevada where, it could be reasonably assumed that a person who's a seasoned person will answer. And they just taught.
And if they don't answer, you can leave a message.
But do they record the conversation?
I don't think they record the conversations, but you can leave a message if nobody answers. So the phone in the senior living home, it says call a Zoomer.
Okay, so Boomer and Zoomer.
Yeah, they can pick it up and call also for somebody else to pick it up. And the phones are free to use. You know what, the conversations are being recorded.
I was going to say that
was a great question.
If you're looking to learn something or to impact something, it seems like you'd have to have you'd be collecting something.
I don't know if this is impacting or learning, but they're going to use them, snippets of them on social media.
Well, I thought you said early on they were doing it to bridge the gap, a generational gap. So they're trying to do. Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, I was thinking of it as just being
talking.
between the people who talk to each other,
Yeah,
just connection and happiness. And there was an earlier version of this too, and it went from San Francisco to Abilene.
Okay.
The boomers were in Abilene, the Zoomers were in San Francisco. It resulted in more than 250 conversations and 350 voicemails.
That's interesting.
So, I kind of feel like if a Zoomer wants to speak to a senior citizen, I mean, is there connection in speaking to a total stranger, more than 1,000 miles away? You could call your grandma, call your
That's
aunt,
right. Yeah, sure.
call your grandpa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, do something meaningful for somebody who is in your life who would love to hear from you. You could do this too, but if you have an urge to call a stranger in Reno, maybe there's someone in your life who would love to hear from you too.
Call Nana. Young people, speaking of youngins, young girl, working long hours, about 20 years old, just 22 years old, graduated college, investment banking, high pressure, very busy all the time. Finally gets off work at the end of the day and always found herself doing what? She was always on her phone. That's right, always. But then she and her roommates said, "Hey, let's kind of break from this." And they started looking for a hobby that they could do that was more, I guess you could say, analog.
Okay.
Like an analog hobby.
Oh, I can think of a lot of things.
Well, they became, pardon the pun, hooked on needlepoint.
Ah, nice.
She said that when she was a kid, she'd been told by a relative or shown by a relative how to do it, remembered it a little bit, hasn't been back to do it since. And she said, "Wow, I really got jazzed. I really like doing it." As you might imagine, she turned it into a business.
Okay.
She said it was really a therapeutic way to kind of distract yourself from either work or stress, but also just do something with your hands instead of doom scrolling. We became completely obsessed now with the other thing.
Yeah.
Her name is McTaggart, last name, part of young people turning to analog hobbies, activities to escape technology, reconnect with creativity from childhood exploration, and some of the hobbies turn into businesses. Hers is called What's the Stitch?
Okay. And she sells them on the internet.
That's right. So it comes full circle, doesn't it? Just when I thought I was out, they dragged me back
keep
in.
Pulling me back.
That's right.
In.
Anyway, she founded this needlepoint business. She's now 26, a crafty person. She's always considered herself to be a crafty person. These are called grandma hobbies.
Okay.
Grandma hobbies have persisted beyond the pandemic. Sort of started in the pandemic. The baking of bread, the needlepoints, the whatevers.
Yeah.
Some of the people have then turned their attention back to the phones and the social media, and she's now making a living.
Well, you got to keep track of what you're selling.
That's right.
Speaking of buying and selling, if you are considering a teacup pig, buying a teacup pig.
I didn't know there was a teacup pig.
That's kind of the whole point of it.
There's not supposed to be?
There are no teacup pigs.
Oh.
They're being sold when they're itty bitty with the promise
that they'll stay itty bitty.
Is not going to get
very funny.
Big. And it just doesn't happen. Pigs who naturally stay the size of a teacup don't actually exist.
Huh.
It's not a breed. It's a deceptive label. They're pot-bellied pigs who are either deliberately malnourished so that they stay tinier than average, or they're just falsely advertised as being mini.
So when they falsely advertise them, I guess there are a couple ways you could do that. You know, you would just take a picture of them when they're really little.
Yeah.
Or get a really big teacup.
You could do that. That's pretty smart. Yeah. Breeders, this is terrible. I'm not even crazy about pigs, and this makes me sad. Breeders
I love bacon.
Underfeed. Well, in that form, I like pigs. I've just never really wanted a pet pig.
That's right.
Breeders can underfeed the animals in order to stunt their growth, and then they instruct the people who buy them to keep them on this tiny little diet so that the people who buy them don't even really know that they're malnourished.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Pigs.
Never get the pig out. That's bad. That's bad, though. That's bad.
Doesn't it seem like, though, you would be setting that pig up to want to eat other things that might be dangerous
so. Yeah, if it's hungry, sure.
for it?
Yeah.
If it's supposed to be eating more and you're only feeding it a little bit, it's going to look for something else to eat.
It's crazy. Do you ever do a fetal pig surgery or whatever they do in school?
I did not.
I didn't either.
The furthest I ever had to go was a frog.
Yeah, me too. My sister is now in the upper echelons of things, but for years she was a teacher in whatever grade that is. And they also did the cow eye dissection. I was like, there is no way.
No.
I don't want to do that as an adult. I'm not going to do that to the little pig. And whatnot, everybody gets a big bag of pig and then you got to do stuff to it. It's like, what are we
No.
doing, man? That's crazy. But they did anyway. Yeah. So your fetal pig. I mean, not fetal pig. Your miniature. What's it called? The teacup. Yeah, the teacup pig. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the idea of eating a large cup. Really mislead. That is Scattershoot. That is the Wilder Show podcast. If you want to send us email, it's podcast@wildershow.com or on Instagram, Wilder Show Pod. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time or before on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube. Also on the TikTok now again. Wherever you get your podcasts, like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share. And Lauren, welcome back.
Thank you.
Glad you're here.
Me too.
We'll see you next time.